Hello all, welcome to the Lunar Sea Spire Steven Universe fan podcast. This is episode 260, and today we'll be talking about Steven Universe the movie. I'm GC13.
I'm Isabel.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm David.
So, Spinel is a precious cinnamon roll who must be protected. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, measure carries.
Can't believe that she didn't get
It
hugged.
says right here, right in my notes, Spinel is baby, spelled B-A-B-E-Y.
Steven was heartless for never giving Spinel a hug at the end. There was so much tension there as I waited for Steven to just reach out and give her more physical contact than just her hand, because she was so sad. And, I'm glad that she went with the diamonds. But, man, I don't know. If I was standing there right now in the past / the future, 2 years in the future, and I could offer Spinel comfort after seeing those tears, I would.
The whole movie, I thought that Spinel was going to come back on her own because obviously she's mad because Pink Diamond ignored her, just like Steven is ignoring her, so that experience is going to just happen on its own. But no, it turned out we got a very sad backstory song.
Yeah, although it almost happened a couple times, you saw her sort of trauma, her abandonment fear popping up.
Oh yeah, she freaked out that one time.
Well, 2 times. Well, she didn't. She freaked out once, and then she kind of sulked away a second time. And her memories did somewhat come back on her own. It just took... Oh my god. And then her saying the garden after Steven asks about it breaks my heart every time. Just that voice acting, her face. Oh, chef's kiss. So good. It makes me cry.
I mean, bringing up the voice acting, I don't think we've ever been treated to a voice actor who is, besides in our main cast, but this movie just featured Spinel's voice actor so well. She had so much texture to everything she said, and so much subtlety in every time that there could be subtlety expressed. It seems like the opportunity was taken. Even in the songs, there's a reason that it made it to the number 4 trending Other Friends.
Yeah, well, I mean, that and because it was electro swing, and everyone loves electro swing.
Oh, her song is so good. Steven Universe needs more swing. The second I started, hearing the music hitting, and I'm like, holy cow, Steven! Give me that swing! That was very good.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, her song is absolutely fantastic. I just love Spinel and how just everything about her drips characterization, from her voice acting, from her animation, from her design. She's animated. She just moves and exists in Steven Universe in such a unique way. And she's so animated, if you know what I mean. Her eyes and her limbs are all so expressive.
Yeah, it's not, it's easy to notice her limbs, but they actually did a ton with her eyes, with her, pupils and irises always changing size and gaining, concentric rings that were terrifying, including in the Other Friends montage.
And they kind of lag behind her head.
Yeah,
which is just
that
so
one
nice.
Frame is so creepy.
It happens a couple times. She whips around and her eyes are kind of lagging behind there, and everything about her.
Yeah.
She's, I think pretty much everyone has noticed this. She's very much inspired by early 1900s animation. Disney is one of it, but Popeye. All that super bouncy, energetic, what is anatomy? I don't know, kind of animation that's just so good, and how it moves with the music, and delicious. And she even has the 3D space defying Mickey Mouse ears, where no matter what angle you look at them, there's still circles, or in this case, there's still hearts, which is very, very good. She's so clever and dynamic as a character. And when she's her first form, baby Spinel is what I've been calling it. She squeaks, like a dog toy. Whenever she does something super expressive, she has a little squeak. When she's grabbed by Amethyst's whip, she sort of squeaks like a dog toy. Or when she walks on her big feet, or when she grabs Pink Diamond's hand.
Yeah,
and
heartbreakingly.
it pops up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just dog toy noises, and it's so good. It's so good.
I mean, when I saw the trailer, whenever I'm wondering where does Steven Universe go from here, my mind always wants to go to political. And while after Steven and Connie were locked away in that tower, I'm still kind of upset that we didn't get a civil war between the diamonds after that. I am so happy with the Spinel we got here. Like, this was beautiful. Just her backstory was so tragic, but she as a character is so I love it.
Speaking of her backstory, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it reminded me a lot of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit from Epic Mickey. Has anyone heard of that game or played it or anything?
It was a super popular game that was on my maybe favorite console of all time, the Wii. But I didn't play it.
But yeah, her story reminded me a lot of that because she was like, or he was like, Oswald was abandoned by like, Walt Disney and all that. That's what's in the game. If you don't know.
Yeah, that's actually a really good parallel since it's also the same animation style and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, people have been bringing up the parallel from Toy Story 2.
For the memes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I don't want to play with you anymore.
It is the same quote. Yeah, I mean, so Steven Universe, it's kind of amazing that this didn't end up feeling too repetitive because we've already dealt with characters who were either explicitly locked up by Rose or just locked up for a very long time and have dealt with some version of PTSD and sadness. But this twist is really good, and the fact that it was based on a song that Rebecca Sugar put in another show years ago is also kind of incredible.
Yeah, like she snuck it into Adventure Time. How did she do it?
I know the foreshadowing memes. They've felt hollow before, but now I know they're real. Rebecca Sugar is the master of foreshadowing.
Everything Stays from Adventure Time's Staked miniseries is Spinel's story. You can't convince me that she hadn't conceived of it already at that point. Like, she even sang the song herself. She didn't just provide the lyrics. She sang it.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, even if it wasn't explicitly the same thing, she's had this idea. She enjoys this idea of an abandoned thing that changes out in a garden in her mind. But yeah, in the idea that this has ever, Spinel stories ever been suggested to us before in the series, I did think back to how Rose used to describe Greg as a plaything, and that word always stood out in We Need to Talk, where I
really want to play with you.
Yeah, but now from the perspective that she was born given an entertainer, and then when she went to Earth, she literally found new playthings to replace her old plaything. It's kind of an interesting concept, and I wonder if they had been thinking about Spinel in the past.
Yeah, there was this one meme where it's like Rose walks by an old Mickey Mouse showing, and she's like,
"Oh yeah,
I left my Spinel," and she just suddenly remembers thousands of years later, which is terrible, but so funny.
I will say this: a lot of people are using this to say, Rose was an awful person, and it is true. Pink Diamond was pretty bad, but you gotta remember, this was before she ever got the colony. This is ever before she decided to start fighting for gem freedom. This was basically when she was trying to have the wrong character development. At first, everything's fun. Oh, hey, I'm just a fun-loving little goofy, silly diamond, and I have my Spinel. Then she's trying to grow up and be like Blue and Yellow, which was the wrong character development. By the time she had the right character development, she couldn't go back to get Spinel because Spinel would 100% blow her cover and jeopardize the Earth. So it might just be that Spinel is an unfortunate victim of, protecting the Earth.
Yeah, and I mean, it's possible that Pink assumed someone would come and get her.
Yeah, how did Blue not go and recover, one of Pink's treasures? Did she not know about the garden?
She said lost treasures.
Yeah, but surely they knew about the garden. It had a warp pad on it and everything. So she took over the zoo. I do think that the garden and the Spinel is kind of a retcon. I wish that there had been some kind of explanation for why Blue did not recover Spinel. Much like I kind of wish there was some explanation for, where Spinel had time to loop Steven's message to the universe over and over.
I think
then
it
get that stuff
itself.
And then get to Earth. But she has to listen to it over and over and over again, losing her mind. And then she has to get the stuff, and then she has to get to Earth, and she has to do that in just a couple of hours. And it takes several hours for a diamond ship to fly to Earth.
I wouldn't say it was hours. Well,
Yeah, I mean, does the injector have a gravity engine on it? Probably not. I have a lot of feelings about the injector that is hopefully coming out in a video that will be sometime on our channel next week. But suffice to say, yeah, they just completely threw away any notion of explaining to us anything about the injector or using the injector in a meaningful way. Because, like, why did she bring an injector anyway? Just, like, thematically. Does it really make sense?
Steven literally says, should I get the diamonds? Yes!
Okay, no. Yeah. Actually,
yes!
Earth was never in danger. Peridot said that there was a 5 cubic meter per hour destruction rate, and she also said that there was 41 hours worth of destruction left. So, if you do the math, that means that not much except around Beach City was ever in danger at all.
She literally said all the people on Earth would die.
She was wrong! Did you see how confused she looked for just a moment there before she very confidently
also
the entire Earth was doomed?
all the goop was gone.
All
right?
the goop got out, and then everything was fine.
What did they
Beach
do?
City
They just
wrecked.
the gems just get some sippy straws and have a.
No, apparently Steven just gets super hydrated and kisses it all.
But again, it's literally just the Beach City area that gets damaged. I don't think the Earth was ever actually in danger. I think that injector was... I mean, she does kind of have an out on the injector. I think it might have been stored at or near the garden. Like, this is how they prepped the area for the garden. They kill all the pre-existing organic life.
My guess is she started warping around pre-existing gem, like homeworld and gem settlements that she knows of, and talking to other gems, and... hearing word of mouth, Savior of the Galaxy, Steven, and then eventually getting her hands on an injector that nobody was using. And piloting it over.
And customizing it.
And some biopoison, which
I guess
Peridot has never seen in an injector before as a certified kindergartner.
Well, I mean, the kindergartens will kill organic life on their own.
How'd she get it custom made with her gem on it? In like half a day.
Well, it definitely the fact that it only responds to her also is baffling, because if the movie wants to take the time to include a line for Steven to explain why he's not going to contact the diamonds because he just says, "Should I contact them?" and then doesn't. If the movie's going to take that much careful attention to do that, to serve the audience when the audience says, "Oh, shouldn't he have contacted the diamonds?" Why didn't they go through the same level of care at all for any relationship that Spinel has to that injector? But,
They could have figured out the pink note.
Everything would have been fine if they had not included lines to the effect of, "This is the same day that I sent out that message." If they had not had several lines that implied that, everything would have been fine. It was just like, oh yeah, Spinel spent a couple weeks doing all this, whatever. But no, they made it very clear, this is the same day that I did that. And it's like... I think they shot themselves in the foot with that, to be honest.
the infamous line that Steven sings, just moments ago we were singing this song, like...
Just a second ago.
Yeah, like just a second ago. That line actually caught me off guard and made me laugh, because I was like, we've never seen things go so bad so fast for Steven in an impossible way.
Maybe what happened is when he, floated onto his bed in that song. He fell asleep.
Time passing.
He fell asleep and then woke up the next day, and then that's him doing stuff. That gives us at least another 12 hours to work with.
I don't know.
Yep, canon.
I don't know. I was disappointed that we did not get to hear the Heaven and Earth Beetle speak, by the way. They teased us.
Yeah,
babies.
Or any of the new gems speak, which... They all looked really awesome. All those different Jaspers looked super cool.
Hey crew. Hey Crooniverse. Hey, question.
You can hear us.
Hey, question, Crooniverse, question. Where's Jasper?
Yeah, obviously she's on Neptune. She heard from the Rubies that it was a great place, and so she set up a summer home.
I mean, it's just her and Pink Pearl, right?
It's a gas giant. There's no floor on Neptune.
Jasper is really strong. Are you saying that she needs a floor?
Okay, if she just wants to sit and be whipped around by constant hurricanes, I guess that's her business.
I mean, maybe Jasper and Pink Pearl in the 2 years decided to form another underwater dwelling monster, and they're just hanging out under there again.
And then of course Pink Pearl.
Oh boy.
The massive hanging loose ends that just tickle your face.
They were like,
the movie.
Even though we don't have the excuse of a cancellation like OKKO, we'll just throw Pink Pearl in at the end with an eye that will go unexplained.
Right?
Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay, no, okay, so I was wondering about actually the timeline. At first, I thought that when she lost her pearl, she got our pearl almost immediately, and that Pearl had been serving Pink Diamond for a couple thousand years before she got the colony. Now I kind of get the impression that, she goofs off one time too many. They take away her pearl as punishment, and then, after a while, Blue gives her Spinel as a replacement, and then only after she gets the colony does she get Pearl.
But Spinel would have known Pearl, and Pearl would have known Spinel.
Yeah,
so
and they do both know each other.
Pearl knows Spinel.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just get the impression that Pearl was very new at the time of the colony. I don't think there was much overlap.
There was enough that they knew each other, but probably not a lot. So yeah, it's probably they got rid of her pink. No, because then I feel like she was using her influence from Spinel to impress Pink Pearl. That's how she was juggling. And that's why she was being silly. Like, she was like, oh, look what I learned with Spinel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unless our Pearl, had just witnessed Spinel in some other way. Because, again, Pearl, not originally being Pink's, could have existed somewhere else. I mean, I guess since we now know that white makes all pearls, it still seems like our Pearl was explicitly created to replace Pink Pearl, but maybe she was somehow around before.
Does white make all pearls? Do we know that?
White is involved in the creation of all pearls, but I do think that the other diamonds can contribute essence to them, like to make blue pearl or yellow pearl or pink pearl.
Right, she takes a bath in an injector or whatever.
It's much like I would assume that all possible Spinels would include Pink Diamond's essence. It's just that another diamond could add their own essence to get a different kind of Spinel.
Their diamond juice.
Their diamond bathwater.
I can't. I mean, the fact that they really
True
made it
memes
bathwater.
never die.
I would pay for that diamond bathwater.
I would start my own colony with that bathwater.
Yeah, and I mean, Steven's bathwater heals humans too. So
I mean, do we have proof that Steven bathwater can heal humans?
I mean, some kind of bathwater heals. Corrupt gems.
Talking about
His spits and tears.
yeah,
You're talking about when he's sitting in the pool at the very end, and he looks like he's taking a wee in it. He just looks like he's concentrating really hard.
Steven, there's a chemical in the water that turns urine blue.
Or in this case, pink.
Oh gosh. Is that what was in the injector? Okay, so
I'm David.
This movie was a musical, and there was a lot
The music was
plot
wonderful.
that happened. But what else did you guys? We brought up Other Friends a little bit, but were there any other standout songs for you?
Independent Together.
Steven and Amethyst song. So good. So good.
Yes, No Matter What. I loved Independent Together. I loved No Matter What. I loved Disobedient. I love the reprise of Let Us Adore You. I mean, it still makes me a little bit sad, but it's like a happy kind of sad. Whereas Spinel is she's getting right back into it. Oh, and Who We Are with Bismuth.
Yes.
As long as one of us is still standing to brandish the star. Oh, I love it.
I can't believe we didn't know Bismuth had. Apparently, she also sang in the finale or near the end of Orange is the New Black. But yeah, hearing Bismuth sing was really special. And also, I went and sought out the albums of Amy Mann and Ted Leo?
Steg.
Well, right. Who, their band, The Duo, their duo, The Duo, has at least one album out. And so if you just want to hear Steg and Opal singing a bunch of songs, it's there.
Does it have a sound, anything approximating Independent Together? I hear that Mike Kroll's stuff was, he's the guy who did Disobedient.
Yeah, no, it's the same sound.
I don't know if anybody else feels this way, because I haven't seen anybody talk about it. And it might just be me personally, because I am really into it. But a little bit of Independence Together gave me like Rocky Horror Picture Show vibes, like just in the sound of the song. I don't know if anybody else has felt that way.
I mean, I've seen Rocky Horror Picture Show.
The performance or just the movie?
The movie, not the performance.
Okay, you haven't seen Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I mean, Steg sort of has a performance, though, that's like Rocky, I guess.
Oh my god, yeah, Steg is a hunk.
And you like his pelvic thrusting in the smoke with his 2-bar guitar right there?
Yeah.
Oh, and of course, how could I forget to call out the System Boot Pearl Final 3.info?
Yes.
I love the bit about this is an amethyst, something is clearly wrong though, and of course just as soon as Spinel's music hits, it's like, oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, the twisted way that the song spins with Spinel is awesome.
Yeah, and Amethyst mimicking Pearl with the little thing.
Yep, and while they're both doing the arms up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it really brings into like what Amethyst was like when she first emerged. She seemed to not really not only did she not physically look like what she was supposed to, but I think like personality-wise, she wasn't an immediate ready-to-go soldier.
Nope, she wasn't an immediate ready-to-go anything. She's just, I'm gonna mimic you like a child now.
Yeah, like, because we saw the other courts when they first emerged, when Rose went on her first little tour of the kindergarten, and they understood language and can produce their own, unique thoughts and sentences, and understood what was going around them and what should be happening.
It's like we were told before, they emerge with everything they need to know already in them.
Yeah, and Amethyst was more like a blank slate.
Tabula rasa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her design, even with her sort of segmented arms and legs, kind of reminded me of the posable models that you use in.
Or
art.
remember when Lapis first comes out of the mirror? You briefly see her like that.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Well,
yeah,
a little bit, yeah. And of course, talking about the regenerations, they really pushed on the pilot form being canon, bizarrely. Yep. And it doesn't seem as much like an Easter egg as it much feels like, oh yeah, they all looked like this for a little while. Which is interesting. It's an interesting choice by the dev team. Because it doesn't really fit the style of any of the characters at all.
Well, also, it's it doesn't mean that the pilot actually happened, because if her reformation matches up to when in the timeline it happened, as far as that little sequence with her and Rose, then she doesn't have the pilot form after Rose disappears, which obviously she has the pilot form when Steven's around. So I guess Steven still never had his amazing comeback moments, except for obviously with White Diamond.
Yeah, I don't think it's saying that the pilot itself was canon, but that the outfits were. So, yeah, and it's just because it's so weird because you have Garnet, square hair, square hair, square hair. One reformation where she does not have her cube hair, and then back to square hair again.
Yeah, she was experimenting then, Got to keep the relationship fresh.
The 70s
Bold,
were
precise,
wild.
experimental.
There you go. She's learning from Pearl. But I mean, basically I loved more than half of the vocal tracks.
Oh, they were so good. Yeah. I thought when I heard it was going to be a musical, I'd be like, because I'm not a huge fan of musicals. I always feel like the singing feels not well integrated into the storytelling. But of course, here it just integrated flawlessly. With the previous context that we know that the gems are very musical and that Stephen and Greg are very musical and that singing and dancing is just what they do, and how it worked with the plot points. And I felt like a couple situations, the song was written first and then the fight scenes were choreographed to the song. Where this one part that really sticks out to me is when Garnet is singing her song and Spinel dashes forward and she says stop. In the song, she sings stop and grabs Spinel's hands, and that really that was some good cinematography. I really liked how that worked
punchy, if you will.
Yeah, Steven gets punched in the face. So Rebecca did a lot of interviews, obviously, before and during the release of this movie, and apparently, besides having done a ton of research of TV movies and musicals in order to make the songs for this movie, she also shared a really interesting experience about her meeting with Chance the Rapper. And she sort of described how the same way that she knew as a cartoonist how to use pencils and paintbrushes to add texture to what she drew and animated, she kind of admits that when it came to songwriting, she really only would just put together chords and lyrics, and that was all she thought about when she made a song. And that Chance sort of revealed to her the way that you add texture and all this other meaning to the song, like the way that Garnet says the word trust? Truth.
It's the true kind of love.
Yeah. But apparently she said it much more melancholy, and then Chance was like, sing it more like a kid swinging their arms around, coming home. And that sort of attention to giving songs texture, I think, is really apparent in this movie, and really is what helps raise the bar of these songs from anything else in the show besides maybe Mr. Greg.
Yeah, and I remember someone mentioning, it's like, oh man, the animation in the movie was so good that they bring back James Baxter. And I would say no, they did not. Like, even without looking at the credits, like, nothing in the movie looks anything like what he would animate. What it does remind me of is when they brought a guest animator from Studio Trigger in Mindful Education.
Oh, and he was back for this one, too.
Yeah, he was.
He was? Okay, then I was right, because I totally
You're
recognized that style of animation. Like, there's this sort of, like, I cannot describe it in any other way than, like, the snap of a rubber band, where there's sort of like a delay and then a go.
Yeah, I think there's several parts. The first part in the movie it stood out to me was like just when Pearl was getting up, recovering from Spinel, initially attacking them.
Yeah, and there's this sort of like anime feel to it where there's less frames and the characters are sort of moving from space to space.
Yeah.
And it's less fluid, but it's more expressive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not just less frames for the sake of less frames. The expressiveness stands out. That's like a good way of putting it.
This another thing that they did in Alone Together, where Pearl was kind of like looking over Stevani when they first fused, and not like, you don't see her moving around Stevani, you just see snaps of her in different poses around Stevani, and I feel like that's a very anime thing to do. Like, that's definitely something that I could say is something that anime does a lot, and I felt that sort of animation style was present a lot in the movie. And there was a lot of, like, that very, again, like the snap of a rubber band, it's like the delay and then a big movement.
I do want to say that I really don't know why they spent time on Connie in this movie. Like, why establish that she's going to space camp?
Only to throw her away the whole movie? Well, it's like they wanted to spend time explaining why Connie wasn't going to be present in the movie, much like how the diamonds weren't going to be present in the movie, or the explanation of the injector in the movie.
Just have her go back home and then pick her up for the very end sequence. You don't...
But clearly space camp was so important to her.
I mean, I guess it's the same amount of time, but I don't know. It's just...
I want to see Stevani now, 2 years in the future. Are they going to be like a giant? You know? Are they going to have like a full beard? Because Steg didn't have a beard at all.
Years old now.
Because Steg didn't have a beard. Steg had like handsome Hunkstubble, you know.
I want to see a band composed of all of Steven's fusions. So, Steg, Stefani, Smoky Quartz, Rainbow Quartz, and Sunstone. And then I guess Obsidian can be like the venue they're playing.
Obsidian is the stage.
I like the idea of Stevani with a beard of the same magnitude as old Steven from Too Many Birthdays. Like, to match the amount of hair that they have. No. Like, remember old Steven's, like, giant, white, flowing beard?
Oh, like, okay. Huh.
Yeah. I don't know. Just, like, an amount of hair that matches the amount of hair that Stevani already has on their head.
Yeah, I'd say 5 o'clock shadow minimum. I wonder if Steven is, like, actually shaving now, or if he's still doing the one hair.
I mean, he was as of the finale. In,
well, one hair.
Or the wedding episode.
Mabel just pounces in every so often.
Does he have 2 hairs now, you know?
Yeah, snips them off with tweezers, and then runs away into the night.
Okay, so am I the only one who noticed this? The chest in Lion's Tree has been opened.
Oh, so many people have been pointing that out. Why would they tease us like that? Does this mean that season 6 is going to take place before the movie? That just makes it more depressing. Spinel isn't happy yet.
I guarantee that they opened it to let you know that it wasn't important, and it's over. Like, it's just their way of making fun of us and mocking us forever caring.
What was in there?
It doesn't matter if the chest was empty, you still have to tell us what was in it.
No. It's our way of marking that other things have happened in the past 2 years, including Steven figuring out that he was strong enough to just open the chest on his own. But, like, there's already been a tape and a gem in there. It's like, what more do you want to be inside of Lion? There's already an inexplicable dimension and multiple African-based trees in Lion. You know, how many more significant things do you want to find out are inside of Lion?
At least one more.
Look, listen, if we didn't have eon-long hiatuses in this show, then maybe we wouldn't have gone buck wild over the Lion mystery. Maybe we would have been able to accept it. But listen, we had to fill that space with something. And it's been there since the beginning. Like, we've seen inside Lion's Mane in season 1. It's season 5 now. It's the movie. Please.
And we still don't even after they told us what Lion was, we still don't know why Lion is. Why did Lion and his other lion friends hang out with Rose in the desert? Why?
Yeah, like, there's so much we have to learn about Pink Diamond yet. And again, I don't think she's nearly as awful, as I said before, as the fandom is making her out to be.
Oh, no. After she got pregnant, it was all good, you know? Her and Greg made it all
again,
work.
The way she treated Spinel, just using and abusing her like that was her taking the wrong kind of character development. That was her becoming more like Yellow and Blue, and that is a path she firmly rejected later in life.
Right, after she had a really good few months with Greg.
No, she rejected that when she started the rebellion, but unfortunately by then, she can't go back for Spinel, because Spinel will ruin it for her and doom the Earth. I mean, it just stinks to be Spinel, but I want to hug her so much. Why didn't Steven do it for me?
Yeah, also, I still feel like it's pretty controversial for the Diamonds to be the ones that take Spinel, because even though their song explains that they know she's not Pink, their whole relationship is still based on the idea that she's a replacement for Pink, which doesn't feel like the most solid footing for Spinel. Also, the fact that Spinel's still being treated as an entertaining toy and not learning to be something else, which is sort of the thing that every other gem was supposed to be learning in this time of ending the whole hierarchy. So the fact that we're reinforcing the hierarchy with Spinel.
I think for Spinel, what's most important right now is that she feel loved, and she is definitely going to feel loved.
Yeah, like, I feel like the big thing is that the Diamonds are lonely, and Spinel is lonely. And the Diamonds are dying to give attention, and Spinel very much needs attention. So, the both of them work pretty well together. It may not be, like, a permanent arrangement. You know, Spinel might have a life outside of just, like, playing around with the Diamonds. But,
I just imagined her as, like, captain of the guard, like, you know, whatever the Cortzes are doing, the Cortzes who still want to do martial stuff, like, becoming one of them. That would be funny. Using the power of the Toon Force.
the joke where Greg was like, all right, I'll wash my hands. Nasty!
Literal toilet humor.
That's the biggest lore drop we've ever had. The fact that Greg has disgustingly never washed his hands during this series.
It's not even
he
that,
works
like,
at a car wash.
Oh, right, cool. Like, that makes up for it. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like everyone's...
son. You raised a son. Steven would be disappointed, Greg. Nasty.
Everyone's thinking about the fact that Spinel in every episode of Steven Universe is just out there, you know, in the garden alone, but now I'm thinking of just the fact that every time we see Greg, he has freaking poo-poo on his hands.
He's just like the Tattletale Strangler in that episode of SpongeBob. I hope they're not dirty.
Oh my god.
Holds the fingers up with all the absurd detail.
Oh god, now I'm just waiting for like an edit throughout all of Steven Universe where it just zooms in on every single time Greg has used his hands to touch something. And it just like zooms in and vibrates violently and then cuts to the next thing. Saddle Greg doesn't wash his hands.
Maybe that's why he rubs Steven's hair so much.
What?
Trying to wipe him off.
Oh, God.
Wipe a bit of the grime off.
So, in a more positive Greg note, I really like that Amethyst isn't the only one who's cussed in the show now. The fact that Greg goes, holy which I really liked the edit
She did that?
There was some edit someone made on Twitter that I saw, but where he actually says the word. But
yeah, and business.
Holy thing! I didn't wash off of my hands.
Oh God. I love Pearl calling it bass, because even me at 23 years old, still when I read the word, I will say it bass in my head. It's why is it spelled that way? That's obnoxious.
Yeah, you think Pearl would understand the idiosyncrasy of the English language.
I mean, she did give Steven a dictionary for his birthday.
Yeah, I like that she is playing the absolute, it's the lesbian instrument, is the bass. I remember having this very in-depth conversation with a couple other people in line for Rocky Horror Picture Show, and we were talking about, nobody could name a girl who played bass who did not also like girls.
I will call out, too, that the song... I definitely think of all the Crystal Gem stories that we revisit in this movie, besides the fact that Amethyst turns back into Rose again, which I thought was really great, because Maximum Capacity is probably in my top 3 favorite episodes.
Oh, yeah.
I could argue for it to be my favorite, probably, at least emotionally. But Pearl's, the way that she gets recharacterized and reconstructed in this movie is totally exceptional, especially the way it even starts off with this song where everyone else's songs are super happy, but basically the whole montage we get is that she didn't learn anything until Rose was gone. And yeah, I just really loved the line of after all the tears that I cried, here we are in the future.
Poor Pearl. Everyone's sad.
Yeah, but Amethyst just needed buddy friendship from Steven to remember who she was, and
it
Garnet...
goes deeper than buddy. Don't do it down. Those guys are ride or die.
They had a handshake.
That was introduced in this movie.
They've had 2 years to come up with it.
I know, but I can't believe they came up with a brand new handshake just to make the sequence memorable instead of relying on anything from anywhere in the past.
I don't know. I like the handshake. Sort of.
It's very Steven and Amethyst.
Oh, no, it's totally believable. I just wish it had been shown earlier in the show so that we could feel more sad by it when we saw it lost and then come back. But yeah, I mean, it just happens. Amethyst is the least amount of work for Steven, and Garnet is not the most amount of work because she just kind of needs to hear truth in addition to being fused. But the work they do to get Pearl back, I think, was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it sort of helped solidify for us exactly what set Pearl free. And it wasn't just being a rebel, and it wasn't even just Rose dying, per se. Her coming into her own. Yeah, it was Steven who really just helped show her what it meant to be not codependent on people.
Yeah, I just keep thinking of an indirect kiss, where Pearl's talking about Rose's plants and herself and the crystal gems. Look at them, they're a mess without our guidance. Yeah, clinging, directionless. I can't remember exactly how she phrased it, but it's she basically says, yeah, are you talking about yourselves or the plants, Pearl?
Quit projecting,
right, as she's
Pearl.
Clinging to Garnet, yeah.
Yeah, as literally as she's clinging to Garnet, just we are literally walking in the footsteps of the diamonds as they followed behind Steven. Come on, people, how did you not notice?
Yeah, and also the fusion dance she had with Amethyst was so good. It was just... I loved it. It was so heartfelt.
And we got to hear Opal sing.
Yes!
Oh,
finally!
And I love how she pulled the bass guitar back out of her gem.
So she's playing a comically small instrument relative to her size.
Yeah, because I was totally when she took Greg's bass guitar, I completely forgot about, I guess Pearl just had a guitar laying around in her gem and took it out, but no, this was a callback to previous in the movie. But that was good.
Yeah, I love Amy Mann's voice, and also, compared to at least the few amount of songs I've otherwise heard from her, the way that she plays Opal, just chill as heck. She is so subdued and just feels so cool. Just brought me right back to Giant Woman. and was probably the biggest nostalgia wave I got from this movie. I've always loved Opal's just straight up fantasy design that's so different from all the other fusions, but yeah, hearing Amy Mann again was like, oh yeah, this is a wonderful character.
What did they describe her as in the book, Perfect Balance? Which is...
In the art book?
Yes. Or in one of the
I just looked at that book today. I don't know.
I just know that the handbook described her as forgetful.
Right, which has become now in the fanon her only character trait. I personally relate to Amethyst because I also have a younger brother that has grown significantly taller than me, and I'm maybe a little bit salty about that.
We freaked out so much about Steven's neck pre-movie that, taller Steven definitely makes me look back on older episodes now with almost remorse, because
who's
I
this
love
kid?
this. I love tall Steven and deep voice Steven.
Well, taller Steven. Like, he's still, 5'4".
Hey,
Pearl is 5'7", and he's still a couple inches shorter than her.
he's getting somewhere compared to Onion.
Compared to Dora.
Onion's getting everywhere. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, Onion is
He's
still
not-
a baby.
He hasn't grown.
Is that the canon that he doesn't get taller, he just multiplies as he ages?
Apparently. Yeah, he was teleporting just as quickly as Lion was. It was wild. I mean, we've seen in the comics that Onion has powers.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, Steven is still a short 16-year-old boy. He went from door handle height at 14 to 6th grader height at 16.
Baby steps. Literally.
And it's funny because his dad isn't particularly tall, but Rose is 8 feet tall. Or how tall is she, confirmed as? How much did Greg,
She's not 8 feet tall.
I'd say she's, pushing 7.
She's pretty big, though.
She's pushing 7. If she were in, a regular room, I think her hair would brush the ceiling. It would get caught in the ceiling fan. For sure. She would have to duck to get in through doorways.
Lars only had one line in the whole movie.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah, and it was just kind of in unison sing-song line with...
Well, no,
Sadie.
he did have that line
Yeah.
at the rock concert where Sadie asked, "And how many of you are here for the end of the world?" And he's like, "Wait, what?"
Oh.
That was him?
Here because it's the end of the world. Yeah,
that was
I'm pretty sure that was him.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it was. Oh, man, that
Okay.
also reminds me how I really liked Buck getting tossed off the stage. At the beginning of this tech song, but
He seemed pretty cool with it, though.
yeah.
I mean, Buck's always cool. That's what he is.
So, see you guys in a year and a half when the next Steven Universe content comes out.
That's very generous of you, David.
Anyway, that's been us on Steven Universe the movie. Join us next week. Until then, I'm GC13.
I'm Isabel.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm David.
Leave us a review on iTunes.
And anywhere else. Later, everybody.
Our opening and closing music is by James Roach. For more Steven Universe fan-related content, please visit LunarSeaSpire.com. Thank you for listening.